us have had at least one moment in our lives where we just wanted the earth to swallow us whole. Whether it be when your teacher called you out to read a sentence during class, or when you were at a party and random people came up and talked to you. Then later, most people just probably shrugged it off and went on with their day. But some didn't. Sometimes some people kept thinking about the situation for hours on end, and in really bad cases, maybe for the rest of the day. This then caused anxiety and then probably introversion. At this point, some of you may be like, no way can someone get anxiety and become an introvert just because of being shy. But trust me, I know it's possible because that's exactly what happened with me. So let's look into it. How can shyness, anxiety, and introversion intertwine? It all starts out with shyness. Shyness is an emotion that affects how a person feels, like being uncomfortable, self-conscious, nervous, or even insecure. Shy people are often very quiet around everyone, students, friends, and even family at times. It gets to the point where others start being prejudiced against shy people, thinking that they're rude or mean just because they didn't say hi back or carry on a conversation. Some cases are worse than others because it's normal for everyone to get shy at times, but to be shy all day, every day is a different story. This is how shyness can lead to anxiety. It causes people to overthink everything they do and get scared of how they look in other people's eyes. For example, I would always ask myself questions like, are these people judging me? Oh my god, are they laughing because they're making fun of me? Is it something I said? Is it something I'm wearing? And so on and so on. I know for a fact that I'm not the only one who has done this, but eventually these questions get worse and worse over time and come up more constantly. In other words, people get anxious about what they think others are potentially thinking about. Some even feel like they're being watched all the time, like when getting up from their chair to throw away something or just by walking through the cafeteria. Anxiety is when someone feels a sense of uneasiness, nervousness, worry, fear, or dread of what might happen, but has a really small chance of actually coming true. So how does shyness and anxiety cause introversion? That's a very simple question, and it's mainly because introversion naturally derives from being shy. People often tend to think that introversion and shyness are different, but in all honesty, it's very similar. And it's mainly because someone who's shy would rather stay at home where it's safe and comfortable to be than around a lot of people they don't know, and the same goes for introverts. It can also come from anxiety because, why go to a party where you might get judged, causing you to overthink it the whole time when you can stay relaxed at home and read a book or watch TV? Not only that, but once someone gets used to staying locked up by themselves, their brain gets used to not having to work a lot to socialize with others. Therefore, when someone who's an introvert has to socialize, their energy drains faster. And like I said earlier, I know it all can happen from being shy because that's what happened with me. Ever since I was very little, I was extremely shy. So I didn't start talking until I was 4, so in other words, it was bad. Later, throughout elementary, my shyness started to drift away, but when I started middle school, it all came back, and it was worse that time. I was terrified to speak out during class, and just in general too. After a while, I realized that what I had when I tried to speak was anxiety. Spending so much time worrying what people thought about me whenever I felt like I stood out a little caused me to develop anxiety, and let me tell you, it was not fun. Of course, it wasn't terrible anxiety, but it still created a negative effect of my state of mind. As time went on, I began to drift away from people and even my friends. I stayed locked up in my room for half the time, and while the other half, I was forced to socialize by my mom. I never knew that there was a technical term for people who were like that, because for a short time, I thought I was the only person who didn't like to talk to others. Then one day, I decided to take a personality test just for fun, and in the end, in big black letters, the word introvert came up with a description of the answers I put in, but it didn't give me the exact definition, so I was still confused about what an introvert was. Naturally, I looked it up and smiled to myself because at that point, I was just happy to have learned that I wasn't a freak who liked to be by myself 24/7. But later on, every time that I stayed home, didn't talk to others, or get super nervous in front of people to the point that I started shaking, I kept telling myself, oh, it's okay, I'm normal, I'm not the only one. But then I began to get all tired of it, the anxiety, the shyness, and just having no one to talk to during class. So I began to change the way I thought. I started to literally force myself to speak to others and go out more often with my friends. It took me a long time to get over all those things, and I still struggle with them, but it's a heck of a lot better than it was before. And well, to finish off, I'll share the strategy of how I slowly overcame these feelings. First, start off by telling yourself every day that you're not shy and that you're really never the center of attention. This way, you can brainwash yourself into thinking you're more social and won't be as anxious all the time, wondering what others are thinking about you. Then slowly start talking to people around you, especially during school, and then move your way up the ladder from there. The next thing to do is to start making yourself go out more, whether it's to the mall by yourself or to the movie with some friends. This way you can get yourself out of the habit of being by yourself all the time. And even while someone might try to get out of those stages in life by themselves, sometimes they just can't. And that's where everyone else comes in, especially friends. If you have a friend who's an introvert, maybe try and talk them into going out with you more. But just make sure you don't force them to do it, because it has to be enjoyable for the person in order for them to leave those customs behind. Even if you know someone who has a hard time speaking up, but you don't really talk to them, try to encourage them a bit too. Try telling them. An example of this would be in a scenario of a presentation. If you see someone struggling to get through their presentation, reassure them that they did great, or by letting them know that you like their project, even though you might not have paid any attention to what they were saying. But they won't know, so why not be an awesome person and help them boost up their self-esteem levels? So to everyone out there who wants to overcome any of these, if not all, don't be negative Nancy's and say it won't happen. Just try it out and see, because you've got nothing to lose for trying. Thank you.